How about a watch that delivers Grand Seiko style, but comes in at a Microbrand price? Well, hopefully that's what I've got to show you here today. I've got two watches with me that have a very distinctive sort of angular style. Quality on these watches is exceptional for the price point, and these dials, let me tell you, are to die for. So I actually met these guys in person recently at the Wind Up Watch Fair. I went and said hello to the brand owners. I actually included them in my Wind Up vlog, and I got hands-on with the full range. However, they'd already sent me these watches a couple of weeks ago before I'd even met them at the show, but now is finally the time to check them out in person, and let me tell you, I think you guys are gonna really appreciate seeing these watches. First of all, I do get to keep one of these watches after the review. The other one is going back to the watch brand. However, of course, there will be a dedicated floor section towards the end of the video, and as usual, I don't let brands tell me what to say. So the styles of these watches, and this comes directly from the Microbrand owner, is very angular, it's very sharp. And because of that, because of all the pronounced surfaces that these watches have, it's clear just how good the finishing is on these watches. And I don't just mean the cases either. The bracelets, the clasps, these watches seriously punch way above their weight when it comes to the price tag. Guys, come here, I need to have a word with you. We're nearly at 100,000 subscribers. We're less than 1,000 away. We are like here, we're so close, we can nearly touch it. Please do me a big favor, hit the subscribe button, be part of my journey to 100,000. It'll make my day. I appreciate you. Thank you. First of all, packaging, it's pretty simple. You've got a nice little watch box and it's got a secret compartment underneath. Every single watch does come with a leather strap, but you also get a bracelet included with every single watch. And it's always nice to get two options straight out of the box, especially when both options are good. We'll cover that shortly. So the brand that we're talking about today is Monbrey. These guys are based in Hong Kong, and it's a fairly new micro brand. This is their second release. We did check out their first release on the channel, either last year or the year before. Again, the MB1 was very angular, featured a very flat case, but I was also very impressed with the finishing and the quality of that watch for the price that they asked for it. This is their second model, the MB2. There's a clear evolution of design here. They've definitely stuck to their sort of philosophy when it comes to design. However, they've clearly learned a few things from their first model in terms of the structure of the case, for example, because after reviewing that first watch and getting hands-on with this one, it's clear that this one is better than that first model. So Monbrey has sent over one of each version. They have this version of the piece that has an engraved dial, and they have another version that's sort of got like a speckled dial. Both watches though feature the exact same case construction, so it's full 316L stainless steel, and as mentioned, all of the surfaces are very pronounced. They're very angular, quite straight. For example, there's a very dramatic chamfered edge to the lugs. The case sides are completely flat, and even the upper lug surface is a completely flat drop towards the bracelet. The bezel is jewel finished. It features a polishing around the sides and then a circular brush around the crystal. This case is beautiful. It's sort of got King Seiko vibes, maybe a bit of Grand Seiko there too. If you like angular watches that have a lot of wrist presence, then these Monbreys are for sure going to be something that you enjoy. Now the case backs on these are sterile, right? There's no engravings, there's no branding on there. They're completely brushed, a bit like Rolex do. However, the crown on this one is signed and it is screwed down to the case. So these are everyday watches, right? 100 meters of water resistance on these thanks to those two elements. Now this watch does feature negative end links, so the end links sit within the case, and there is a dramatic taper to the bracelet from 20 millimeters down to 16 millimeters at the clasp. Finishing on the bracelet is exceptional. It is just as good, if not even better than the case. And it has that sort of integrated bracelet sports watch look to it where the bracelet links are quite flat, which means you do get a really sexy wrist roll with this one because those surfaces play with the light really well. The clasp on this one is actually quite petite, which is surprising because it's got an on-the-fly adjustment system inside. Usually on-the-fly clasps are quite big. However, this one is actually on the smaller side, which is always nice to see. Now, in terms of size, this is going to work for a lot of people. Case diameter comes in at 38 millimeters. Lug to lug comes in at 45 millimeters, and case thickness is 12.2 millimeters. On my 6.5 inch wrist, this watch wears perfectly. If I could bottle up this wearing experience and put it onto every single watch that I wear in the future, I would. The lug to lug is perfect, the case diameter is perfect, and that thickness feels a lot slimmer than that number suggests, and that's because a lot of the thickness comes from the crystal, but we'll mention that in a minute. Monbrey went for the Miyota 9039 inside of this one. Premium Japanese automatic movement, high beat rate, decent power reserve. Genuinely don't have a bad word to say about the Miyota 9000 series. I've never had a bad one, and I've never had a problem with one long term. so. Now, one part of Monbrey is that their watches are anti-magnetic. The first model, the MB1, featured a Faraday cage, which is a big component for anti-magnetism. I believe this one also features a Faraday cage, although their website doesn't confirm that, but these still feature a high anti-magnetic rating. But yeah, the cases are beautiful, but I honestly think it's the dials here that steal the show. The olive green is my favorite of the two. I mean, just look at this color combination. So it features a very subtle olive green finish to the dial. And then there's this 3D engraved texture to it. And when you play with this watch against the light, I mean, it just dances. The indexes and handset is also multifaceted, so they also dance in the sun. And for those of you who know me, you'll know I'm a bit of a sucker when it comes to gilt indexes. Golden hands, golden indexes always tickle me in the right place. Just a simple applied Monbrey logo up at the 12, no other branding or text on the dial, a very clean dial that really allows that pattern to take center stage. Now the blue dial does feel quite different to the green actually. This one doesn't feature a pattern at all. This one's actually got a sort of speckled finish to it. I believe Monbrey call this one the starry blue because it does have that same sort of vibe as looking up at the night sky. This one doesn't quite dance as much in light as the green version. This one's certainly a lot more subtle, but I still think this dial is a pleasure to look at. You still get the applied multifaceted indexes, you still get the applied logo. However, I think this one's a little bit less crazy than the green version. Now these watches do have lume, it's BGW9. There's not a lot of it. There's a little bit in the hands and then there's a lume pip at the end of every index. The lume experience here is good. It's not going to blow you away. But one thing that shocked me as soon as I unboxed these is just look at these crystals. Now I believe these are top hat crystals because they feature a steep sort of drop down towards the bezel, and then there's a slight dome to the top of the crystal. Anti-reflective treatment has clearly been used on these because they are great in full light. Also, Monbrey though used an anti-fingerprint treatment. So, I mean, yeah, I can see it. Like, you don't get as many fingerprints as you would usually get. Hopefully you'll have to clean this glass a little bit less than your other watches. But listen, extra specs is always nice to see. Now there are 7 different variants of this watch available. There's 4 of them with the sort of sparkly dial, and then there's 3 versions of the 3D engraved dial. Now, and I actually saw the mother of pearl engraved dial at Wind Up New York, and for me that one was incredible. The pictures on the website don't do it justice. That thing was incredibly dynamic. So although I do love the olive green with the gilt indexes, I'd say my top choice is probably the mother of pearl. Now, flaws. Let's talk about what I don't like about these watches. There's not really much. First one, as good as these watches are, I don't think these have that really distinctive feature that separates them from a lot of other micro brands. I do think the 3D pattern to the olive green version is close to having that uniqueness. No bad thing, by the way, because that means that they're quite safe and quite traditional. But for a micro brand, I need at least like 1 or 2 unique features on a watch for me to like really vibe with it and spend my money on one. But I don't think they've quite achieved it yet. Next, the lume. For an everyday watch, I think I want a little bit better lume than this. Listen, it's still serviceable. You can still use it for everyday wear, don't get me wrong. But with this sort of being a bit of a gather watch, you want a really punchy lume experience that, when you come from outside, for example, you want it to glow instantly. You don't really get that with these, and I think for an everyday watch, you kind of want that. And the final one is there's no choice when it comes to strap options. Now, you get a bracelet with every single watch, that's standard, and you also get this black leather strap with every watch. I would have liked to have had a little bit of choice with the leather strap. I do think the black looks good with it, and it probably works across all the models, but I'm a fan of coloured straps. I like brown, maybe a little bit of a green, maybe a burgundy. I think that would have been better because, for example, the green version with the gilt indexes, I think this one would have really suited a light brown strap to sort of, vibe with that dial. But listen, these watches are hard to fault. I've been wearing this for a few days. I've been trying to figure out something that's wrong with it so I can tell you guys. Really can't put my finger on anything that's a genuine big flaw. So then we come on to price, and again, it's pretty impressive for what's on offer. So all models come in at just over £500. That is very impressive for the construction of this watch, the crystal, the movement, but clearly the attention to detail that's happened on these dials is magnificent. Up close under the macro lens, they are just so impressive. The execution here is incredible. These are just very well made watches, clearly very well thought out, perfectly proportioned on the wrist, a very striking wrist roll. Of course, if you want to check these out, you'll find the link to the Monbrey website in the description below. Go and check out all of the other dial variants that they do. I think you'll enjoy some of them. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Bye for now.